Hi everybody, this is Debbie DuBois. I'm here for another video. It is time for the November energy reading with my tarot cards. It just feels so funny how time is flying so fast. I feel like I just did this report. And I don't know how people do it that do it every day. I know those of you that do this every day. It's like, oh my gosh, how do you do this? Very excited to do it though. It's a lot of fun for me. And just really don't really know what's going to happen today. I did just put out a video recently with, some things that I felt people needed to know that are in this catalytic heart awakening connection, which is really what I'm starting to call this connection. What people are calling twin flames. And I've come to the conclusion that this whole struggle about the twin flame definitions and the experience and who's a twin and who's not a twin and is there twins and is there not twins, those kinds of questions. When it boils right down to it, it really doesn't matter, because in the overall scheme of things, what's happening right now is we're going through ascension. We're going through an ascension process, and it's an awakening process to who you really are. And in order to do that, one of the most important things you need to do is to overcome the blocks that you had to love. Well, what better way to do that than to be triggered in every possible which way that there is within a loving relationship, or sometimes seeming like a not a loving relationship, but in these catalytic relationships, that catapults us, moves us along in the process, because it's so uncomfortable. You don't want to stay there. You want to move through it. So I have really started trying to get away from the twin flame word, because I feel that it excludes so many people. It doesn't matter if someone is actually a twin or a one soul being or whatever. Ascension is for everybody. And the new relationship, I want to say model, even though there's really no word. I don't like using the word templates, because that's old energy. Templates are, this is the way it's supposed to be. And I think that we've got a card flipped out. Excuse me. As we, transition in this relationship model, what's happening is that we're getting rid of the templated things that were programmed into us to automatically do things a certain way because they've always been done that way. Actually what's happening is the definition of loving relationships, sacred partnerships, and all that is changing dramatically, and that we are in the midst of it right now. So that's what we're doing right now, is we're transitioning to a much higher expression, and it is creative expression of love in a relationship. So it's funny, the card that just flipped out was artistic expression. Relationships are artistic expression. They're creative expression. They are the physical manifestation of what exists in each one of us. So I just really am trying to focus more on catalytic heart awakening, because they're really intense. And if you've had one, because your world will never be the same. But that's a really good thing, and it might not feel like it right now. And I don't blame you if you're saying, oh, no. But it is a process of eliminating the blocks that you have to love of yourself so that you can love others. And that person or persons, because some people do go through more than one catalytic heart experience, these people, one or several, are going to show you everything about yourself that you don't want to see. And that's why a lot of people run away. I really don't want to see that. No, thank you. I think I'd rather do something else today. But in a way, it's like, because we all came here to make this shift, we're not going to be doing that. So we're not going to be running away forever. But we are in the middle of the shift, and we're at different places in that shift. So, well, we have another one come popping out. All right. So It's interesting because I have no preconceived ideas whatsoever of what this reading is going to be. So this is a lot of fun for me. And it's fun for me because the way I look at this is I am using these cards, the freedom of these cards, as permission slips, if you will, to tune into what I have is, oh, there comes another one, to tune into my own source connection. And source connection is when you're able to get out of the way and you're able to allow, you know, the highest information to come through with as little filter as possible. I mean, it's really difficult to, you know, people say that they're clear channels. Got another card that flipped out. Clear channels, you know, even some of the most clear channels that I know still see through a filter. And, you know, we have a filter based on our own experiences, which we really can't always ignore. But at the same time, oh my gosh, they're just flying out. Hang on. They're just flying out. Even better, I'm just butterfingers today. You know, so the more that you can get out of the way, the more you can access your own knowledge, and your own knowledge because you are part of source. And so you're able to plug into source and bring through stuff. So the fun thing about doing this for me is, especially right now, is I really don't have any idea. We're going to look at November and we're just going to tune in. I'm tuning in and you tune in with me collectively because it's all quantum. The people that are supposed to hear this message will hear this message. And we're kind of co-creating this moment together of what exactly November is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop shuffling. I have several cards that came popping out, and I'm going to use these as maybe some extra cards because I really like, I do the, it's a feminine V, and it's with 3 cards at the top, 2 cards, and then 1 card at the bottom. And that is the symbol, you know, for the divine feminine, if you will. That is the symbol for the feminine. And I like to think of it as a funnel. You know, the stuff's coming in and what's the root of all of that, and then what's our outcome. So I'm just going to do that. And the first card that I'm going to pick, let's see, is you can do it. All right, well, that's very encouraging. Good, I'm really glad. Glad to know we can do it. Okay, so this is telling me something as we start getting cards like this. This is persistence. All right, so let's see what the third card is. Listen. All right. Mother, wife, daughter, sister. Interesting. Okay. Priorities. All right, and then the final card at the bottom is healing energies. So let's see what some of these cards tell us. And I'm going to also be looking at, I'll pull together some of the cards that came up as I feel that they relate to what we're talking about. So when I tune into the energies of November, I feel like manifestation is a little bit more on the table than it's been before. And I think that's because a lot of us have been actually making some decisions. We're making decisions on where we want to go with our energies. So sometimes they're difficult decisions. Sometimes these decisions are, gosh, I've always been doing this, or I've been doing this for a while now, and I really want to do something different. But we're making these decisions. And I think that the reason why this is happening is because we really have been exploring so much of ourselves over the past year, and there's some very definite things that don't resonate. And when they don't resonate, we get rid of them, we drop them. And there's a lot of people that struggle, you know, should I go this way or should I go that way? And I feel like over the last year, very intensely since June, and June 23rd keeps coming up for me for some reason. I know I had a huge shift on September 23rd, but June, every time I went to talk about it, June kept coming up. So some of you that are the astrologers out there or, are following some of this energies, maybe you can remind me, because I don't always have the best memory, of what the 23rd of June was. But since that time, so many of us have been in the grinder, really finding out what it is we resonate with. And so we're making some difficult decisions. Sometimes if you really think about it, it's not difficult at all, because you can't help but do what you got to do. It's like, I got to do this. I don't necessarily think it's going to be fun, because I think some people might not be happy with it. Or, you might be like, geez, how's this going to work out financially for me? But in the nature of that energy, what I'd like to say is the first card that comes up is, you can do it. You can do it. I know you can. We have been through a lot together and separately to find out what it is that we really came here to do right now. And in these kinds of connections with the catalytic heart awakenings, we've gone through, a lot of us have already gone through the super duper connection, all the work that has to be done to try to get yourself in your own shoes, in your own space, in your own, your own knowing and things of that nature. But now we got to do something with that. We've got to manifest. So what I would say is the second card that comes up is persistence. We have to stay persistent in that which we want to create. So I know myself, I'm waking up every day. I'm basically, I'd like to say, I'm working around the clock. I mean, seriously working around the clock, but it's not work for me. It's play for me. It's love of what I'm doing. It's love of creative expression. So because I've gotten on that path, it's for me, it's always persistence in getting really focused on what it is I'm trying to achieve and tuning in. So be persistent in some of those things that you've decided to make happen. Consistently think about it. Persistent conversations about it, and overcoming obstacles that come up. And the third card I think plays really into this is listen. Listen to the universe around you. Guidance comes to you from so many different places. We think, we got to go inside and we got to, listen to our own self. And then people start spinning out going, well, I can't hear anything and I don't know what myself is saying. Listen, the universe speaks to you all the time. It is speaking to you. Some people see that as signs, synchronicities. We're creating our own realities by our thought system. So if you're thinking the universe is going to show up with you for you with answers, guess what? The universe shows up with you with the answers. So listen to those answers when you come up against obstacles, or if you're trying to tune in at the beginning of your day, just set the intention. Listen, let the universe speak to me, because I am a piece of that universe. Let it speak to me and tell me what I need to know. That's not looking outside of yourself. Some people will say, that's looking outside of yourself. No, it's not. The universe is showing you things. So while you're trying to implement and manifest, and I guess really the word for November keeps coming in really strongly for me right now is manifestation. What are we going to create tangibly with what we've been focused on? Now, the fact that Lady Nada, that's the mother, wife, sister, daughter card, comes up, I want to say that this is feminine energy. I may even look for a clarifier on this, because I'm not really sure where this, I'll come back to this in a second, but I do want to say that the feminine energy right now, the feminine energy is almost, it's okay. All right, let me just go into what I'm being, shown by my own higher self. Priorities. And these two cards, and I know I'm blocking my face, but these two cards, all right, priorities. I want to see if I can get that clear. I hate when that's all blurry, but it doesn't look like it's going to get clear. I guess it's because, oh, there we go, because we have a glare on the card. So there's the mother, wife, sister, daughter card. And there's the priorities card. Well, anyways, priorities shouldn't be blurry. But anyways, you know, the feminine energy is very expansive. The energy of the feminine is very, I want to say it's the yin, it's the expansive. Now, in order to create and manifest, that energy needs to be harnessed and made concrete. And priorities, focusing on what you need to do to make this happen, and focusing in on what are the highest priority items that you need to do. So yeah, it's kind of making to-do lists and saying, you know, of the things that I need to do, what's the most important? That's going to help bring that feminine energy to, you know, in to compact it more with the masculine energy to create. So that's part of manifesting. And then of course, we have the energy healing card. Through all of this process of manifestation, what's happening is that some of these old, I want to say all these old programs and belief systems that have kind of gotten in our way and kept us from doing things, when we sit and we really focus on, you know, the manifestation of our reality and of the things that we really wish to create, there's actually an energy healing that takes place in us and around us, because we are more focused on, I want to say, productive and helpful things than things that distract us and pull us off target. You know, I'm going to start pulling in some of these other cards. Right about what you're doing. Now, not necessarily for blog posts and things of that nature. I'm talking about, you know, write down some tangible things that you're trying to accomplish that you can focus on those priorities. And in doing all of this, what you are doing is working your magic. When you start to focus on the manifestation part of this journey, and I'm going to get into that in a minute as to what that does for you in terms of partnership. So we're not letting out the partnership of this whole thing altogether. But so working your magic is one of those things that happens when you start to focus on the creative expression. And this is so important. If you're not sure what you should be doing at any given time to manifest, follow your heart. Tune into your heart. What is your heart telling you? What is the best use of your time right now? Sometimes it's just go out and make a meal for your family. That's the best use of your time. And your heart's telling you, wow, I really need to make a nice meal for my family. Or it could be, you know, I really have to get to the bank and deposit this check. This is what's most important to me right now. That's coming from the heart. You know, you're being shown some of the things that need to happen. Following your heart is going to, like, if you tune into your heart to sit down and work on your priorities, to manifest the things that you want to manifest, your heart's going to sit and write the to-do list for you. That's your source connection, This is working with source. This is what we're starting to do now. You know, when we get out of the blocks of the obsessive, you know, constantly being in the noise of relation or trying to get more into relation, we can start to create things. And that has a special effect on these connections. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Crystals. I have mine back here. It's just so funny. A few minutes ago, the sun came streaming through and those things were glowing. And I said, oh my gosh, this is like a movie. You know, you've got the glowing power of the crystals behind you. But crystals, there's just an energy about them. I love crystals, so I'm just going to go through that. But the fertility, oh, this is amazing, okay? Fertility has to do with, and this was one of the first cards that popped out with the artistic expression. Fertility is all about new beginnings, starting new ventures, starting new projects, abundance, things coming into manifestation. That is what I really am tuned into that November is going to be about. And that's going to have a lot to do with your connections. And we'll talk about that in one second, because I just want to talk about artistic expression. You know, it's very interesting that almost all of the people that I see around me that are, you know, really teachers of ascension, And what I mean by that is not necessarily, oh, they're giving workshops. They might be. It's not that they're all doing videos. They might be. They could be writing articles. That's possible. But the real teachers of ascension are the people that are actually doing it. They are being it. They are living it. And a lot of those people that I know are extremely into artistic expression, which is actually sitting down and creating pieces of art in one form or another as part of their expression of their higher self. And, you know, if you don't have any kind of artistic inclinations, you might want to just try something free flow, allow yourself to just kind of get out of the way and let things happen. Painting. I mean, what's better than just, you know, canvas? You don't have to create anything. It's the process of actually doing it. It's tuning into that piece of yourself. This is the stuff that this journey is starting to be made of. And let's just talk about what the manifestation does in terms of what we would call sacred partnership or the catalytic heart connections that we have. There are many of you that are actually in connection, complete connection. And I've seen several that are actually in really good connection and they're doing all of this stuff together. That's amazing. That's wonderful. That's one level of it. Then there are others who are really coming into a newfound comfort with themselves, and they're starting to identify, what is it that I came here to do? What is that? And they might or might not have contact with that other person. But the more that they get centered and focused on what they came here to do, first of all, the stronger they become, the less negative emotions that they feel, the less encumbered by, you know, that pull and that longing and that wish things were different and I wish I had a different life than I do now. More or less of that is starting to really go away. So that's the second group. And for you, creative expression is going to create an incredible energy of source that raises your vibrations. So if you're focusing on your vibrations and remaining really strongly into your priorities and persisting through some of the blocks that you may have to, accomplishing what you want to do, but, just staying really focused, that creates an incredible new vortex of energy that draws in the sacred partnership with that like vibration. It helps raise the vibration of the other person. If you're connected, listen, it doesn't matter if you believe in twin flames, not twin flames. The truth is when you're really connected with someone, you feel the person, you feel them, you kind of do tune in. We are all telepathic beings. We are all able to feel empathy. Not all of us, but the ones of us who are awakening, we can feel other people. We're empathic. And if you're in connection with someone, especially if you're physical with that person, you feel their energy. You become attuned to their energy. So in these particular cases, as you're raising your vibration, you are automatically raising that person's vibration, and you're not reacting to what they've got going on. You're able to stay in your own power. You're able to give them permission to be who they are, and allow it, accept it, even embrace it. And also be able to draw boundaries when, you know what, that energy is just not what I really feel like dealing with right now. I'm going to go over here and focus again on my priorities. And what this does is it's incredibly healing from an energy standpoint. It's healing for them. If you think about it, what we do in life is we project onto other people and we blame them for our unhappiness, or we think, gosh, if they would be happy, I would be happy. And that other person feels this incredible burden because they feel that they're somehow creating these circumstances that are making you unhappy, and they carry this guilt and this. What happens when, and this is A Course in Miracles, which I studied for a number of years, what happens when you step into your own power and your own happiness, suddenly you release that other person from being responsible. They're not responsible. If you're in a really good place and they come in and they're really not in a good place, and you can go, oh, I'm really sorry that you're in that place. And, maybe you should go, ground yourself and go do what you need to do to get out of your space. And I'm just going to keep on keeping on. And you're not affected by it. That makes them innocent. They're innocent. They're not responsible for your, emotions. Or let's just say you're having some negative emotions. You don't necessarily, it's like when you're in your own, when you're managing your own vibrations, you're not necessarily having to tell that person, I feel this way and I need this and I have this. You can handle it yourself. You walk away and you say, geez, I feel pretty crappy right now. I think I need to go do something to raise my vibrations. You show up 15, 20 minutes later or an hour or 2, 3 days later and you're fine. They're like, oh, wow, this person can manage their own vibrations. I don't need to make them happy. I don't need to be responsible for when they're not happy. So this is all that, how this new manifestation of some of the things that we want to accomplish. This is how the vibrations help support, the growth and development of the other person. But when you talk about holding space for somebody, this is how you hold space for somebody. You manage your own vibrations. And I'm going to say that more and more because that's what I'm beginning to realize. In source connection, I'm actually managing my own vibrations. When I manage my own vibrations, my connection with source is stronger. So that's part of that. Now let's just talk about, a third group of people, if you want to talk about, and if this is you, you'll know it. If you're still in a situation where you are extremely focused on the other person, you're trying to connect with them all the time, you're, watching what they're doing, you're watching them on Facebook, you're tuning into their energies to try to communicate, you're very focused on what everything means having to do with this other person. I would like to encourage you to let go and trust the higher self. The higher self has a plan. There's things happening in the background all the time that you can't even possibly imagine. It's like a symphony. It's an orchestra. This person's doing this and this person's moving these chess pieces and da da da. When you start to get to higher vibrations, you start to be able to see more of those pieces on the chessboard, chess pieces on the board, so that you start trusting more. I mean, I can do that now. I can go up here and I can go, oh, I can see all this stuff. And it's like, oh, okay, everything's fine. Because but it's kind of a catch-22. You have to raise your vibrations to be able to see the higher perspective. And if you can't see the higher perspective, you're always given higher perspective around you. So tune in. Who are you around right now that has a little higher perspective on the situation? And you may be able to get help there. But, all right, so you're in that situation where you're very super hyper-focused on the other person. The only thing I can say is, hey, we're at a point where you really need to start focusing on your own stuff. And I don't mean, clearing and all that. That stuff does come naturally, by the way. The soul is going to clear what it needs to clear out of your template. If you do nothing, you're going to ascend, because the light codes that are coming in and the vibrations that are shifting all around you, all of you are shifting. We're all shifting. We can't help but shift. So, that's very reassuring to me. It's like you need do nothing. That's another Course in Miracles. You need do nothing. You are going to shift. But if you want to make this whole process so much easier on yourself, really tune in to why you're here. Why are you here? What is it that you are here to do or to be? And I know that a lot of people that are in these connections feel that they're in this process to come into union. And so they focus on, what are you here to do? I'm here to come into union. Well, union is only yourself coming into your own power and coming into your own knowing, so that you are prepared. Because until you do that, you're not prepared to connect with that high level vibration connection that you might have had a bubble phase with and you might have dropped out of. You can't stay in that space. So The only answer is literally to get focused on where you are going. What is it that you are here to do? What is it that you are here, from, I want to say, a creative expression and an artistic expression, and really tune into your heart, follow your heart, and listen to what your soul is telling you. What are you here to do? If you can start asking yourself that question instead of the myriad of other questions about the other person, this third, I don't want to say, it's a group, the third, I don't even want to use waves. I would say in the first wave, second wave, none of that matters. If you're in a place where you're not really starting to manifest what you want to create, you're in the planning stages of manifesting what you want to create. All of this does help you come into your sacred partnerships, because you have to get to that place before you're going to be able to hold the vibration to be in those connections without it absolutely blowing up. You can't stand a connection where there's a bunch of noise and a bunch of problems. So that is pretty much what I feel for the month of November. I feel that we're in a manifestation phase. And you know what? That may be for that last group of people that if you're still having some real issues, that may be you manifesting your own focus. Figuring out what your focus is. What are you going to focus on? And you can enjoy all the other stuff. Every single moment delivers you a beautiful, beautiful treasure. You have a treasure in every single moment. Are you seeing it? And, if you could understand that every single moment of now is in the process of delivering to you exactly what you desire, that you become a vibrational match with, then you start to realize how important what I'm saying is. Truth, because if you desire that kind of connection, then you have to be willing to align yourself with it. And I guess what I'm showing you in this reading is a little bit more of how to align yourself with what you want. You'll be much happier, much more fulfilled. And finally, I just want to wrap up with, lighten up. We all need to lighten up. I know I do. I came in so serious because I'm so dedicated, and I want to make changes, and I want to help people, and I want to do all this stuff. But the best thing that I've learned over the last 6 months is how to laugh at everything. And even in my family, I spend a lot more time laughing with them and kidding around, and let's not take this so seriously. Oh my God, the school, my daughter doesn't like school. And it's like, and it's like, okay, so you don't like school. All right. So, let's not freak out about it. Let's not go to the highest hills about it. Let's take it lighter. It's a journey. We need to enjoy it. So anyways, I really hope that this helped you. I enjoy doing this. I always love these, the monthly, readings. And just before I go, headed up to Ohio, get on a plane tomorrow, going to have a workshop. We've got a lot of people going. We have like 3 or 4 seats left. So if you still feel that you're called to go, please do, check out the link that's in this post that will tell you about that. I also am very close to launching a new platform, and I'm not going to say too much about it, except it is a brainstorm that I've had for a long time in trying to accomplish what I've been trying to accomplish through Facebook that I have not been able to accomplish. So it's going to be for people who resonate with my information, people that resonate at the same vibration and frequency, no matter what stage of the process you're at. So I look forward to that. I'm really aiming for like November 11th. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. But I'm getting back from my trip on the 7th. It might be a hard-pressed time to get it done by the 11th, but I'm very close. And I want you to know about it because I think it's going to be very beneficial for a lot of people. So that is that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Well, I do sessions, although I'm really not taking any sessions until after I get back from Ohio. So, but if you have an emergency, there's a good possibility I could fit you in. Costs a little bit more to do an emergency, but if you really have an emergency that you really need to talk to me, I can make myself available somewhat in Ohio. But anyways, thank you so much for spending this time with me, and I look very much forward to sharing more information and articles and videos, and the next time I get to see you here on video. All right, so thank you and namaste.